Yeah, California literally hogging up the NBA trade deadline spotlights. And of course, it's time to bring out the Red Storm in the Big East. And of course, you got Crunch Time himself here to break it all down. This is nothing but that sports talk. Let's get it going. Welcome to a platform where we debate on the top stories of the NBA, NFL, Major League Baseball, and other leagues with the best in the world of sports. You'll also get interviews with many athletes and media talents at several basketball events, including the WNBA and college basketball. My name is Rafiq Gulwazon, and this is nothing but that sports talk. Yeah, what a trade deadline is, Ryan. As I welcome to this episode of Nothing But That Sports Talk, I'm Rafiq Gulwazon alongside Ryan Walker, and yeah, this is something else. I mean, come on, especially since it highlights Los Angeles Lakers, and they kind of slowly but surely got over the central problem that started after they made a shocking trade that happened this past week with Luka Doncic going to the Lakers in exchange for Anthony Davis. Welcome aboard, first of all.
Yeah, welcome. Well, definitely appreciate you. Before I even go into any NBA talk, really quick, I just want to make sure we definitely get this looped up so we can send out when we do our video. Crunchtime Pro-Am Basketball starts next weekend, guys. Valentine's Day weekend. The show is back. Long Island, we are here. We back. February 14th and 15th, which of course 14th is next Saturday, Valentine's Day. Or I hope I'm saying that right. Is it the 14th? No, today's the 7th, so 7 days from now should be the 14th. Is that a Friday? But whatever it is, next Friday and Saturday, if I'm getting that right, whether it's the 14th or the 15th or the 15th and the 16th, Crunchtime Basketball Winter Pro-Am is back. We got a lot of good teams and hitters out. So anybody that's in Long Island at the old field house, 56000 Old Sunrise Highway in Massapequa, New York. We shall be there every Saturday and Sunday. Of course, we have food, beverages will be sold. There'll be sponsors, vendors, DJ. I'll be doing live streaming, so you can hear it on the via live. Also, on top of announcing, we'll have my man, the preacher Nehemiah Boone, down there announcing. My guy Slim, the announcer, down there announcing as well. The usual crew. Shout out to my man, Commissioner Rev, Commissioner Mo, the guys on the table, everybody on the table, my guy Rashad. So we're back next week. The whole crew will be there. Chubby Cheeks, Ices, Chef Reem, DJ Tazzy, all the usual. Also, with that note being said, Takeover Championship in Queens is this Sunday. That'll be coming to an end soon, and then they're going to start up a new season right after that. So they're flowing, and 5 AM Brotherhood last week of regular season games is this week, and going into playoffs, playing rounds the next weekend. So that's the big one there. But Crunch Time, we are back, and we're doing a lot of good things. Just finished up the Eagle live stream. They had their senior night, which was phenomenal. And I'll tell you off the air. Hopefully, we just linked something. Hopefully, with a big deal with JetBlue, where one of the JetBlue representatives plus a military guy came down to watch us at the live stream. He loved our work. We'll be in the future live streaming for one of his entities at a military base. JetBlue's gonna fly me and Prime out, and we're gonna do it there. And he's also gonna pitch to the JetBlue representatives so that the live stream work that we're doing and have already been doing will now be showcased at the airports. So you'll be seeing and hearing, hopefully, our live stream telecast all over the United States of America at all the JetBlue intervals that have airports per se, and hearing us. So that's the next thing that we're launching piece by piece. But Crunch Time, we're back, and NBA, yeah, we're back. So once I got that out the way, definitely at Crunch Time, we're back next week. At yeah, like you said, the NBA trading deadline has been very interesting.
Yeah, very interesting. And yeah, I already told you the trade that happened this past Sunday morning. What are your thoughts on it?
I mean, just like everybody else, it was nothing surprises me with trades or deals in the NBA. We've seen and free agency. We see all types of crazy things in all sports. But the only thing that was surprising about it is that we have to remember that we thought there was the thing that was surprising about that deal was the fact that we thought that Dallas had, and there's, I don't want to say loyalty, but we thought the rapport was better. We thought Luka would at least be there. I mean, if not to the end of his career, I always hate to say that because it's very difficult to start and end with one team. You know what I'm saying? But even with the greatest. But the um the fact that it came at that time was just sort of alarming. And you thought about the Lakers, not the Lakers side, but Dallas side, like, wow, what was going on really with Luka? I mean, he is a great player, definitely a generational talent. They're goods and bads with him per se, but that was just alarming at the timing of when it came. And my Knicks played the Lakers that night, so there was no Anthony Davis in the lineup. I guess they figured out what was going on later on in the night, and of course the trade got announced. And then yeah, that was the biggest thing where Luka going over there, they they now kind of addressed this center issue with, you said, with the Mark Williams getting down there. Like, Mark Williams is a Duke guy, can definitely finish at the rim, a decent free throw shooter, and rebounds and defends. He's one entity. They're getting another one of their big fellas back in a few weeks, right, via injury or whatever. So it's one guy. They still don't have that much depth after that. They do have, if not the greatest player ever, or second greatest, wherever we want to consider it. They have LeBron, who's an absolute stud, playing at 40 years old, and they have Luka, who's an incredible talent. But another thing that I had to remind myself is that, remember, Mark Cuban is not the associated with the Mavericks no more. Am I getting that correct?
Yeah, you are.
He's no longer there. So with him doing other entities, or at least not as involved as it was before, I think his rapport and thing with Luka was a lot more different compared to some of the guys that are there now. The guys that are there now have a different thought process of what they want. And there were some things that, as great as Luka was, I guess they weren't happy with. On top of them probably seeing that um, with having a guy like Kyrie, maybe their chances of winning or getting far with Kyrie and like an AD and their other role players that they have, some will be coming back from injury. That gives them their best opportunity. That remains to be seen. I don't I'm I don't disagree with them. I think that can be an antidote, but that still remains to be seen. So here goes the negatives about what the thing with Luka. Luka's a great player, great scorer, great passer, generational talent, super stud, young, 25, 26 years old, in the prime of his career, still has many years ahead of him to play outstanding basketball. But here's the negatives. One, he's a horrific defender. He'll rebound. He gets rebounds because he fills up the stat sheet, but he still can be a better rebounder. I don't know if that's making any sense.
Mm-hmm.
So, especially for his frame and his height, per se. But he's a horrific defender. He's a lot of the times is out of shape. It takes him time to get back into his shape, which they had issues with as well too. And it seems like, for some reason, I'm not going to say that he kind of gave them the indication like he wasn't going to sign back, but he was going to test free agency. And Dallas is probably looking at like, well, we got to get something for something. And when if you hear those utters, you you make a deal and get something beforehand. Anthony Davis is still in the prime of his career, gives him good years. Rim defender, can score. You know what he can do on changing the floor, rebounding, can make plays for peoples as well. So him and Kyrie will be a great combination, and they feel like that's going to give them a better opportunity this season and the next 3 to 4 years to try to win. So as alarming as it is, we're never surprised. And it was just alarming about the fact that you thought that there was more connection with Luka and Dallas, and the time, like 12 o'clock in the night, we're hearing, what I'm saying? I literally was watching that day. I watched Duke in North Carolina. and I was tired, so I was falling asleep still while watching and hearing the game. But I knew that was going to be a rout, so like I'm hearing it's a rout at the same time. And then I got up to watch some of the Knicks Lakers, and I was falling asleep. And it wasn't until like I get up like 11 o'clock. I'm in my sleep and I'm getting up again. I'm like the next day I had to do the 5 a.m. Brotherhood, so I have to get up early for that Sunday. And I hear it in my dreams, like breaking trade, Luka Doncic sat on ESPN and Anthony Davis. And even then, I still couldn't believe it. And I get up and I look and I said, I was watching TV for a while. I was like, holy crap, they really did the trade. So that's what tells you in sports sometimes, especially as the athletes. And I know some people might hear me wrong with this. And listen, we watch, I'm a Yankees fan. I watch Soto leave because of money. You know what I'm saying? And there's nothing wrong with that. It's capitalism. The athletes always have to make sure that you get as much money as you can while you're playing this sport, because management, when they want to move on with you, they will move on with you. Even if they told you right in your face that they will not move on with you, because remember, it's a business. You know what I'm saying? And that's why they should capitalize and get the most money they can. So that's why when I always say that when you're a pro, guys are like, oh, you got to chase rings or you got to chase. That's a bunch of crap. There's more great and good players who will not win championships in your respective professional sport compared to guys that do. Your job as a professional, as an athlete, first is to get paid and get the maximum amount of money that you can while all the opportunities are there. Once you take care of yourself individually, then of course you can worry about the team aspect and trying to win in goals. But everybody is an employee there, and everybody there is you're working. You're playing a sport that 5-year-olds love to play at a park and getting millions of dollars. You know what I'm saying? So, if me and Rafiq work together at the same job, as good as a friend Rafiq is, I can't. If Rafiq is doing bad at the job, just an example hypothetically, I can't walk in your footsteps to do what you do. You have to do what you have to do to solidify your money. You understand what I'm saying? And to make sure that your situation is good. Once you do that, then you can worry about the team aspect. But the individual part has to be taken care of first, and then everything else afterwards. Okay? Because at the end of the day, I've never seen a championship ring or a gold medal buy a house or a car, or send your kids to good schools, or to be able to provide food, water, and shelter. You need money. And that's just one jewel that you have to drop there, and I'm not bringing up the bad thing to sound thing about Juan Soto again. So when guys will be like, oh, yeah, when one guy told me, he's like, oh, yeah, Juan Soto went there because he's seen the future for the Mets was more brighter. That's a bunch of baloney. He went there because he got $810 million. And they gave him $60 more million than we did. It's money. It's capitalism too, guys. You know what I'm saying? So don't give me the future crap. It's all about money, and you have to maximize and capitalize with the most money as an athlete, because please believe the owners are.
Yeah, that's a very interesting point. But if Luka Doncic had not got traded to the Lakers, he would have got that supermax deal by the end of the season.
Well, anybody's going to give him the supermax.
But since you're talking about capitalism, you saw the amount of money he would have been making if he got that supermax deal, if he stayed with the Mavericks past the trade deadline. But now
Right.
he's going to Los Angeles Lakers, and he's not going to make. He'll probably get the supermax for the Lakers, but he ain't going to make as much. So just think about that.
Well, the Mavericks had the option to pay him, I guess, the more with it, but he still, when you test free agency, somebody in his agents or owners are telling him that he can get more money than that. Or on top of that, he's testing the market because he believes with his talent he can get more than that. Now, I'm pretty sure the Lakers are going to make sure they pay him very handsomely, because you don't do this trade in order not to re-sign him. So I'm pretty sure those talks have already been talked. That's something they're going to work out. And he'll be the star there for years. But you're right. If the Mavericks can pay him more, but they have indications that he's not going to sign back. What do? You cut your ties before you lose them to nothing.
You got an interesting point. And not to mention the fact that they made that trade because they were concerned about his conditioning. And I was told by a friend that Luka Doncic wanted to go to Lakers, but let's be realistic. I don't think that was the case. It just came out of nowhere.
They said he wanted to be a Laker?
Yeah.
That's a bunch of crap. That's crap. Now he wants to because he's there. But if you would have asked him last Friday, does he have any aspirations of being a Laker? Of course, he can say that he's under contract with the Mavericks, but I'm pretty sure he thought that this week and in the season, and maybe possibly in the future, whether he even said he was going to test or not, because you can test free agency and still come back to your home team. You know what I'm saying? But that's a bunch of crap. That's a hindsight answer. Oh yeah, I always wanted to be a Laker. Crap. You know what I'm saying? So
I was told
listen, they gotta say. I used to write for my school paper in college. Sometimes you have to say things that are politically correct, but behind closed doors, you're gonna say a different tune. So I mean, we got to take their word for it. They said it, but that just seems very that's hard for any human being to believe, looking at the situation over the last few years. Do you believe it?
I never believed it one bit. I set this record straight. I told them, as happy as I am that the Lakers got that big marquee star, Luka Doncic, at least prior to the Mark Williams trade, they did not have a center. That's why they had to do that Mark Williams trade. I mean,
Correct.
Mark Williams, he's averaging about 15 points and 6 rebounds. That's serviceable. Coming from a bad Charlotte Hornets team that's literally tanking for Cooper Flag. But it's going to be hard to replace Anthony Davis at the center position. And I already named you all the centers over the phone. So,
well, they got a guy that's good off the pick and roll because quite frankly, once JJ Redick figures out what he's gonna do offensively, because that's the other thing. They'll work it out. They're good players. LeBron is unselfish, so that's not an issue per se. And he's 40 years old and playing at a high level, but I'm pretty sure he would love the help as well too on what they're doing. Who knows what that means with his future as well, per se, but because eventually LeBron will retire and Luka will be the future for them. So, but they're going to have to figure out how the offense is going to work because LeBron and Luka are two guys that both are better with the ball in their hands.
Yeah, they move the ball better. And I even said a little video update that I gave on Instagram that they're both triple-double prone. You go see people throw the lob to LeBron or LeBron throw a lob to Luka. That's how talented these guys are. Now it's all a matter of them coming together on the court, playing with
I think that
role players on the court.
Say that one more time.
Now you got these two triple-double prone playmaking athletes throwing the ball down low to the front court positions players that are literally power forwards in Hachimura and Max Kleber. They're serviceable.
Yeah.
They can run at the conference finals at least. But that's my conference finals.
Is Kleber healthy?
Yeah.
Okay. So, I mean, he'll be playing. But you see, the guys that they got, this offense is going to be geared around LeBron and Luka.
Mm-hmm.
And Luka's going to have to, he can get assists, but he's going to have to be a slight bit less ball dominant and a little bit more of a distributor. LeBron doesn't have an issue with that. And LeBron's going to get his anyway. So LeBron is more free-willing distributor. And I know they'll work it out. But the other guys they have don't need the ball in their hands. And that's exactly why they got Mark Williams. You don't really have to put the ball in the post for Mark Williams to do a move or face up. It's not like he's got a plethora of moves anyway. He's got like a little one-step hook shot, a little drop thing. But that's more of pick and roll. and he'll live off the pick and roll between Luka and Braun with the lobs. Same thing with the other guys for pick and pop. Ryu Michimura actually can score offensively, so he'll have times where he'll have the ball to go and create plays, and he'll probably be better to play with the second unit so he can have more of a time to flow and do what he does. I don't know how they're going to do that, and he still might start. But yeah, they got guys that are complementary pieces. It was good to get Mark Williams because now I'm not going to say that they're a title contender. They'll have a competitive, good team. I still think they're lacking a lot of depth, in my opinion. But they're more of a formidable chance and competitive enough with the greatest player to play, or if not second best player, just in case somebody don't kill me on the podcast, or top 5 or whatever you want them at.
You put up a 42-point game at 40 years old against the Warriors to hold
Right.
up the comeback effort just now. So, yeah, if LeBron
with a LeBron and a Luka, with how great we know they can do things, as even though Luka has his flaws, we do know that him and Kyrie helped guide this team to the finals last year. We do know that he's had a playoff success and done big things in the playoffs per se. So we know he has the ability to carry a team, and we know LeBron can do that too. Even LeBron in what did they lose? Did the Lakers lose in the second round last year?
They lost the first round in 5 games to the Denver Nuggets.
To who?
The Denver Nuggets.
Nuggets, Denver. So they lost to Denver, who was the champions the year before. And remember, Lakers went to the Western Conference Finals against Denver. So it's the same team that was giving them problems. But we do know that with the presence of LeBron and, of course, now adding Luka to it, that should be enough to be at least a second round, maybe even in a catastrophic world, a third round team in the West. So the opportunity is there. I still think they're lacking some things. I know they're not better than Oklahoma still to this day. Actually on paper and everything, and when they're playing right, they're not better than Houston. Like Houston is pretty damn good with those young kids, and they're missing some guys.
Even though they're on a 5-game losing streak,
right? They're kind of banged up too. They're kind of banged up. Sengun just played the other day. Don't ask me how Brooklyn beat them, but Brooklyn's on a 3-game winning streak. Yeah, and they just broke their 11-game home losing streak.
Yeah, that was crazy the way Brooklyn Nets pull off that victory against the Rockets.
Yeah, they were down so many points and battled back.
Then the night before, of course, the Knicks are going to get a win against the Rockets.
Yes, that's why I was upset that the Knicks lost to the Lakers. We should have really won that game, but of course, it's very rare of them. Cat and Brunson played bad against that. They didn't play bad, but they didn't have their normal usual games. If they played well, we beat the Lakers, and we're still on a winning streak and so on and so forth. But we're still playing good ball. I think we won like 8 out of the last 9 games. So, but yeah. So, big time trade for the Lakers. They're not the only one. Some other teams made deals as well too.
Yeah. Speaking of other teams, we had to trade some other deals, including Jimmy Butler getting traded to the Golden State Warriors. And then, of course, you had Valanciunas getting traded to the Sacramento Kings after leaving the Washington Wizards. And then Brandon Ingram getting traded to the Toronto Raptors. And that's just to name a few trades that went down this year. And, of course, yeah, Nurkic got traded to the Hornets. And how about the Cleveland Cavaliers picking up DeAndre Hunter?
That was a good deal.
For Karis LeVert and George Niang. That is something you have to be mindful of. And, of course, the Pistons get Dennis Schroeder.
Where'd Dennis Schroeder go?
Dennis Schroeder got traded to the Detroit Pistons. And give props to the Detroit Pistons. They definitely improved a lot.
Yeah, they good. Dennis Schroeder done been on a lot of teams, boy. He liked by everybody. They done traded him all over the place, that man.
Yeah, without question. And, of course, the Pacers traded James Wiseman to the Toronto Raptors. And the Bucks, well, of course, I already told you about the Chris Middleton trade to the Washington Wizards. I don't know who thought it was a good idea for them to go there, but obviously Chris Middleton's going to agree to a buyout, and Ben Simmons wants a buyout for the Brooklyn Nets. Why are we surprised? He hasn't done much when he was there.
Well, first things first, let me start right there. First things first, listen, let me be nice first. Ben, you're a top player coming out the state in high school. Monteverdi, I believe the number one player in the class that year in the nation. Went to LSU, right? Was that LSU?
Yeah.
Went to LSU, had a very good freshman year. Got drafted. He was the number one pick, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yep, he was.
Number one pick to the Sixers, and had some really good times at the Sixers. I mean, was a really perennial defender, distributor, can get guys involved. Really helped when he was there with the Sixers. They changed the movement. You thought that him and Embiid was going to be the next best thing. You were just worried about when Ben Simmons could ever, become a shooter. But then he found ways with the system and everything where they made it prevalent. But they put him in a situation where he didn't have to be a shooter, and do well. Over the years, I don't know what's happened, and sometimes a lot of things do go behind closed doors. So I don't want to sound insensitive, but still, you got paid decent money. You were always in the limelight, different women, the celebrity life, the this, and that. And then you just lost your confidence and you lost your swag and you're very brittle. You haven't been durable. And on top of you being brittle and having no confidence, you just don't. He looks out of place on the court. Even the times he did play for the Brooklyn this year, it's like you're still missing layups or not taking layups. You're still not doing certain things. You don't look competitive out there. You look like you're about to phase yourself out of the NBA. Look at it. That nobody's really asking for him or wants for him. You know what I'm saying? And people want guys that are confident, and that's what it seems like it's just lacking with him is just confidence. And I'm sorry, he's asking for a buyout. Ben Simmons, you played like trash the last few years. Terrible. They should be begging you to leave. You know what
Man,
I'm saying? He's so expensive.
Cooper Flag, or at least a chance at winning the lottery and getting Cooper Flag.
Yeah, hey Anthony,
Ben Simmons, though, is the right option.
He shouldn't ask for a buyout. He should be happy that he's on a team and they're still paying him because he's done absolutely nothing. Everything is
with the Sixers.
He's more injured.
If anything, Ben Simmons ruined his own career.
Basketball.
Ben Simmons ruined his own career in any way, every way possible. I mean, how can this guy ever hope to get back to what he was when he was in Philadelphia or he was a top athlete in high school? This goes to show that what we see for the top athletes right now, there's no guarantee they're going to become top tier when they get to the league.
No.
They win championships, but there's no guarantee they're going to be top tier when they make it to the league. You can say that for the high school girls, but you're not going to say that for the high school boys. You just can't say that.
That's a joke. The Middleton thing.
Ian Jackson was a top tier player in high school. Look what he's doing in North Carolina. He had to work to become a starter.
Right. And because every level is a different ball game. You know what I'm saying? And
it's an adjustment period.
100%. That's why I'm around so many high school athletes, middle school kids, college to pro fam guys, and guys don't understand. It's really hard to be an NBA pro or to get there. I know many great and good, solid high school players. And sometimes you see guys, oh yeah, guaranteed pro. No, there's no guaranteed pros, man. You got to be careful with this game. Sometimes it's about opportunity. I know guys that will score 40, 50 points a game and can't smell Division II. Or do you want to, you know what I'm saying? It's very difficult. It's levels, it's opportunity, it's politics, it's who's around you. There's so many things that go into that. But at Ben Simmons one, wow. Chris Middleton now, we've got to be honest with it, where him in Milwaukee was there for years for the beginning of his career. He had they paid him handsomely when he's there. When he was in his prime and everything and playing well, he earned his money. Over the last 2 3 years, he's been dealing with a lot of injuries. Actually, he's always had injuries here and there throughout his career, but the last few years has been worse. He hasn't been healthy for them, and now he's getting a little older at the end of his career. You could just see he's not the same type of player due to the injuries. He's never was a super athlete where he was going to jump and run out the gym. He's more of a shooter, skill player, great offensively, can guard too as well. But with these injuries, it's lacking on him. So we knew Milwaukee was probably going to move on with him. He's not going to stay in Washington. He wants no part of that, which I don't blame him. Washington probably knows that too. So he's going to probably ask for a buyout or sit out. And then maybe a veteran team that needs a guy like him that's a shooter that can, take the liability. We'll pick him up. And that was it. I think Toronto did very well too. If they can ever revitalize James Wiseman's confidence and everything, they have a heck of an athlete and player at the big fella when you still have a Scotty Barnes. RJ Barrett's a little banged up, but when they can get RJ Barrett back on the court, um, um, they also, you said, what did they also just pick up? Um, New Orleans, Brandon Ingram. That's big. Now you can look at it and say, hey, maybe for the future, we got a Ingram who can play the power forward. You got a Barnes who can play the three. You got an RJ who can play the two. If they can ever figure out the one, whether Emmanuel quickly turns into that or whatever, they can get a one and get a big fella. The development of Wiseman, you could, but I watched them the other night against the Knicks. They have some good young little guards. I forgot their point guard's name, Sneed or whatever the case may be, or Shed. He played very well. So they have a lot of young, good core that they can build with. Masi always does a good job of architecting down there. So they did very well with that. Golden State got somebody to help Stephen Curry because God knows the rest of the team really was not doing that for him. So hopefully he got Jimmy Butler, a dog that can help the team with that. So there was a lot of guys who moved around, a lot of trades, and we shall see how the second half of the season goes.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun second half, and obviously the All Star squad's been announced for this week's All Star weekend. And I don't know if you heard, but it's going to be like a 14 tournament match. It's going to feature like 3 different NBA All Star teams, along with the team coming out of the Rising Stars Challenge. And TNT has made their suggestion. I mean, for Team Chuck, you got Giannis, Shea, Nicolo, Donovan Mitchell, Alfine, Shergin, Pascal Siakam, Conley Charles, and Victor Wembanyama. And then for Team Penny, you got Brunson, Cade Cunningham, Anthony Edwards, Darius Garland, Ty Hero, Jared Jackson Jr., Evan Mobley, and Jalen Williams. Now for Team Shaq, you got Jalen Brown, Stephen Curry, Anthony Davis, Kevin Durant, James Harden, LeBron James, Damian Lillard, and Jason Tatum. Now, with that being said, which of these 3 guys do you think have a better roster going into the All-Star break?
I'm still kind of confused. So what is it like a round robin? Does everybody?
All right, you know what? I'm gonna read it to you. The All-Stars will compete in a mini tournament of 4 teams in 3 games. You have the semifinals. Well, let's see, 3 games, and of course, in all 3 of those games, the team that scores 40 will move on. So
Right.
it's going to be a tournament format, and you got the semifinals, and then a championship game between the winning teams out of the semifinals, and after that, you have the winner of that win the All-Star game. So
and this is not all in one day, right?
Yeah, it's all in one day.
Wow.
It's the traditional All-Star game that we're accustomed to. And it makes sense because All-Star games have been kind of
very interesting. I'm not gonna say who has the better team. They all have good teams. I just want to see how this format really, even though I hear and understand you, I think once we see it, we'll have a better perplexion of what will occur for next week. So and crap, I'll be at crunch time, so I'll have to record it. And we have TV screens there, but I'll be so focused and locked in that I really can't even grasp it. So I'll record it and come back to understand and watch it completely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All we can do is just continue to record. And that's
Yeah.
pretty much it. And then yeah. Now we get to some college basketball. As you mentioned, Duke spanked around North Carolina, but that's not the top story right now. St. John's continues to rack up victories this past weekend. You had a late clutch victory from another winner, courtesy of Kadari Richard, that held off a comeback surge against Providence. And then a couple days later, last Tuesday, against Marquette in an 11-12 ranked matchup, St. John's came on top there. So, yeah, they're now 2-3 quad one wins. And they have to continue acting out these quad one wins in order to get a number 2 seed in the NCAA tournament. What is the ceiling for St. John's in this roster after everything you've seen this past month?
Well, it's Kadari Richmond, not Richard. Kadari Richmond. But
but whatever.
The I mean, they're gonna have a good team. It's they're gonna continue to keep doing what they're doing. They have a big game today against UConn, which is another test. They're a good team. The last week before the win of oh God, who did they play on Saturday and win?
Providence.
There it goes, the Providence game. And they were projected 6 at that moment. Pretty sure it's somewhere still in there from 6 to 4.
Yeah, they're projected 6 in the region.
So, like I said, it's the projections are going to still go. Even though it's late, it's still early. What they have to do is they have to finish the regular season strong. So whatever happens in the next couple of regular season games, their threshold is to try to, you don't want to lose more than 1, not even more than 2. Finish the regular season strong, go into your conference tournament. They have to get at least to Friday. If they get to the semis, they're going to be a tournament team. But if they get to the semis, that can help their case of being a 4, a 3, or even possibly a 2. You win it, that can change a lot of things too. But finish the regular season strong, show very well in the Big East, try to get to Friday minimum, even though you want to try to get to Saturday because the goal is to try to win it. They have a great chance of winning it this year. Like I said, only Creighton, Marquette, and UConn would be their adversaries. They lost a tough one on New Year's Eve, I believe, to Creighton by 1 point. They just proved they can beat Marquette, even though Marquette is still going to be a competitor for them in the Big East tournament and going forward. And today's a big game against UConn. UConn has lost some players that are from last year's championship team. However, they're still UConn, and they're still well coached, and they're still the test. And being that they're the champions, this is a barometer game for St. John's to prove themselves against them rather than the other way around. So they do that. They'll be fine. And New York City's definitely got a team definitely to be happy and cheer for. So they're doing very well for themselves, and God bless them.
Yeah, you have to God bless St. John's, and come from someone who's actually a student there now. This is good. This is the most hyped thing that you'll ever see from St. John's in quite some time.
Yeah.
I mean,
since the 99-2000 teams.
Yeah. They have not won the regular season championship since 1992.
That's wow.
And Patrick told you the last time they won the Big East tournament. So
yeah, that was a long time ago.
This one, I believe, St. John's will have a deep run in the tournament. I mean, they're like an Elite 8 team at least. Elite 8.
Yeah, I see them Sweet 16 to Elite 8. Definitely, they're definitely one of those teams, and they have a chance to get to the Final Four. They do. Anything, any loss before Sweet 16 would be a disappointment, but they're definitely a Sweet 16 team. They're definitely a 2-win team, second weekend tournament team, and they definitely can get to the Elite Eight without a shadow of a doubt.
Mm-hmm.
They have a good solid team in order to do it. And that won't be predicated in everything because they guard and defend. In the NCAA tournament, they'll have to probably knock down 3-point shots a little bit better, not just Luis Jr. The rest of the guys, if have to, will probably have to knock down shots more. But they're so well off the dribble drive and they play in transition, so that's what they're good at. But besides that, they have all the keys. They have big fellas in the interior who can guard and defend and rebound and score into the paint. They have Kadari Richmond, who's an excellent senior and doing great things for New York. Probably going to be the Big East Player of the Year. Um, Luis Jr. is phenomenal for them, a knockdown shooter. So they have all the keys to be successful. They have the coaching, they have the confidence, they believe, they have New York behind them. They're in good shape.
Yep, they're in good shape. And to wrap up this week's show, you see you see Kadari hit a game winner at Gersh, and you see him hit a game winner at the Garden. Which game winner do you think is better? The one in 2019 New York versus New York matchup at Gersh Park, or the game winner we seen this past Saturday?
Well, the one on Saturday means more, but the one at Gersh Park was the better one because the degree of difficulty of the shot, the moment, the time, the reaction, how Brooklyn and everybody reacted. It was a
Yeah,
memorable moment.
man. When you saw that Kadari Richmond, we went over this. That was one of the craziest shots you ever seen.
Yeah, but those situations plus others that he's done had prepared him for that right there, where it's so normal for him when it's crucial moments, he does not falter up. That kid plays. That kid plays. He did it at South Shore. He did it at Brewster. He's he's a hell of a competitor, and was fortunate to see him at a very young age do what he do, even before the NY Classic, and he's a hell of a competitor on a good team, doing very well, and New York is proud of him for him to go at Syracuse, have a decent time there, but then move on, and then for him to do well at Seton Hall, he's right over the river, and then now in doing it here at St. John's is just his path has been unbelievable, and they're in good shape. And go from there. And you ain't just gonna end the show like that because you're still gonna remember that my number 2 Duke Blue Devils 90. Did you see us? Did you see it? But shout out to my man Jaquan Carlos on Syracuse, my little Jaquan there. He ain't in the house no more, but Brooklyn kid, Thomas Jefferson. Jaquan, he had a couple little buckets there. Did you see the thrashing we did up Syracuse?
Yeah, I saw that. About 84 to 56. I saw the score.
Mm. Listen, we know that because it's easier said than done. You talking about a team that can go to the Final Four.
Yeah, they'll go to the Final Four, right? They'll be much better than the team that lost against NC State last year. But
this we got 3 to 4 kids that can potentially be lottery picks. We know one of them already is going number 1. Kanako, the white boy forward, he's solid. He's going to be a pro. That kid's a pro. Believe it or not, the center, he's 7'2" and change. The NBA scouts are probably going to be all over him. He's also projected to do very well. And then that kid James, his stock is rising because he's a hell of a defender. The kid with the dreads, he's a hell of a defender. Not James, the other young man. I'll get his name in a second. But he's a hell of a defender, and what he can do for that always can matriculate to the NBA. But hopefully we can keep kids like him and James. Hopefully Proctor stays too. Proctor's a junior. He can leave, but I think he might stay for his senior year because we got the Boozer kids coming in next year. We got some other top recruits coming in. We got some kids on the bench that came off during the. We had one kid that came off the bench in Syracuse in bench minutes, and he was the Gatorade Player of the Year in the state. And he can't even get in the game because Duke is so loaded. But their future, we have so many kids. That next year, on top of that, is bright. As long as we don't run into a buzzsaw, it is going to be very difficult to beat the Duke Blue Devils this year. That's all I will say. And we always, and I keep saying it, our only two losses was to Kansas and Kentucky, and that was earlier in the year, road or neutral sites, and what are we on, a 16-game winning streak now? We're undefeated in the conference.
Well, yeah, you are undefeated at 12-0.
Yep. I pledge allegiance to the flag. They have a really good team. I didn't even talk about oh God, our knockdown shooter.
You're on about like a 15-game winning streak.
Yeah, they're playing good ball. God bless them. They have a good team, so they'll have a nice run.
Next time you have against Clemson, and then of course now you look ahead of the Duke's Blue Devils schedule since you want to drag on a bit more. You got a game against Stanford on Saturday. Saturday, February 13th at 4 p.m. That's going to be on ABC, and then they're going to be playing Illinois at the Garden on February 22nd.
Wow, we got some interesting matchups. Fighting Illini, Stanford.
Yeah, February 22nd, Saturday. They're playing against Illinois at the Garden. So if I were you, I wouldn't hold on to any water because when you play at the Garden, it's not really a road game. You watch basketball long enough to know that.
I think you need to go look at how successful the Duke University franchise is for basketball at Madison Square Garden. That's all I'll say right there. That's actually our second home.
No, I don't disagree with you. I don't.
Mm-hmm.
I don't disagree with you, but it's not going to be that easy. It's not going to be that easy. And then you end the season on the road against North Carolina.
Yeah. So how many games do we have left?
You have about 9.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. The Stanford game, they're going to win. Stanford will compete a little bit.
You're going to defeat Stanford. You're going to defeat
the Illini game will be very. I mean, we're still better than the Fighting Illini, but that'll be a little bit different of a test because they play different in that conference. They play very physical and tough. It's at the Garden. Illinois will be up for the test as well too. But something tells me Cooper will be happy to play in New York as he was with upstate New York and Syracuse. You've seen him put on a show. Oh my God, he put on a show. They'll fill up the gym, and the Illini will have to pledge allegiance to the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
and to the republic to which it stands.
One nation, under God, individual, with liberty and justice for all. And
liberty and Duke University basketball for all.
I'll say this, though. I hope my St. John's do not get into the same bracket as Duke up until at least the Final Four. Because
I don't want to sound...
Because everything ends when we run into Duke in the tournament. That's all I'm going to say.
I don't want to sound like a conspiracy theorist, but something is just telling me somehow, some way, they might run into each other in the tournament. Hopefully they do the right thing and they put them on separate sides. But I just have a feeling
hopefully they put Duke and St. John's in the East Region bracket because they'll be in Newark, New Jersey for the East Regional semifinals and final. So hopefully they put it in that bracket because you know what happens there.
Yeah. They'll be very prepared. And let me tell you something too that they don't give Duke, which they do, but don't. Some people don't do because sometimes everybody looks about the offense, with Cooper and all that stuff. We're really good defensively. I mean, we're really good defensively. We have 2 shot blocking African centers, Flag who can block shots. All our guys at the guard, they get in the passing lanes. That's why we have James starting at the point. He's a great defender. The other kid is a great defender.
Yeah, you have Gon Canu.
Yeah, yes.
– 'Pro. –
We defend, bro. If St. John's, and I respect St. John's, St. John's does have the players on the team to beat a Duke University. It would be an uphill battle, but they have the guys. But if excluding today with UConn, we got to see how that matchup plays. If St. John's ever did see a Duke in a tournament, no disrespect, that would be the toughest opponent they see all year. We're not. Sometimes it's not about what the record is. It's about who you play. And I'm not saying they don't play anybody. They're playing. This is the Big East they're in. They're doing a phenomenal job. They're elevating New York. But Duke, you see the beginning of the year with the schedule. They didn't duck no smoke. They played prominent teams. We're in conference play, and they still have teams like Stanford on their schedule, the Fighting Illini on their schedule, and the rest of that will be conference games. They have North Carolina at the end of the year. Yes, granted, they're way better than North Carolina, but North Carolina is going to be a little pissed off after getting their ass kicked. Pardon my friend, and that's not even a profanity, but after getting their butt kicked on national TV, and this is their home game, and they play better at home. So those are the things you have to take into consideration. When I spoke to Patrick, like I said, we sat at the diner last Saturday and talked about the St. John's win and Duke and stuff like that. He was being hypocritical at first, and I had to get him in line again because he likes to do that. But what I had to explain to him too, I said, you got to think about the competition that the Blue Devils are playing. You understand that they make sure that they're playing the top tier of whatever they're doing with the strength of schedule to help them for the tournament. That's why they're going to play the Stanfords and the Illini. Because when you go to the tournament, you might play a team that with a different type of matchup and a different type of style that you never played before. So you have to be prepared and ready for this. And he was hypocritical on Cooper. He's like, oh, he keeps making that same mistake. He keeps dribbling with his head down to get a turnover. I said, Patrick, they're 19-2. How many mistakes did he make? He's going to be the number one pick in the NBA draft. Every game they go to, their road teams are selling out because they're coming to watch them. So, I mean, and we also have to remember he's still a young man and developing and learning. So, we just, I know what they prepared them to do, and they'll have a good chance. And we, believe it or not, John Shire is doing a very good job. It is very hard to replace. No, in fact, you can't even do that. It is hard to work after Coach K.
Mm-hmm.
You can't replace Coach K. There's no way you can replace that in the history of life. You know what I'm saying? But it is very hard to replace Coach K. It's hard to be the guy after Derek Jeter retires. You understand what I mean? Those are huge shoes. And he's doing a very good job.
Yep, he's doing a good job. Well, that concludes this episode of Nothing But That Sports. So thank you for stopping by, Ryan Walker. And yeah, this is a heated NBA trade deadline. I know you get your stuff for crunch time and a lot of stuff coming up down the road, as you can see.
Super Bowl?
Yeah, Super Bowl. Next time we're gonna recap the Super Bowl. You go beyond, and I'm gonna make sure I get an episode with Dev Webcast. And yeah,
who you got? Real quick, who you got?
Kansas City, without question.
Same thing. For the viewers, Philadelphia has more talent. They're the better overall team. But Patrick Mahomes, oh boy, I tell you, that young man.
Patrick Mahomes is a whole different quarterback.
So hard to bet against him.
Ryan Walker, Rafiq Lewis on. We'll see you next time.
Yes, sir.